Despite now being widely regarded as one of the classics in the Bond franchise, when Roger Moore stepped into the role for Live and Let Die, audiences and critics weren't immediately smitten, and there were doubts about the franchise's future with Roger in the lead role. However, the producers decided to forge ahead with another outing in The Man with the Golden Gun. This would be another loose adaptation of what would be one of the final Bond novels from Ian Fleming, and for the film's eponymous villain, they decided to cast their net looking for a prominent actor that had global appeal, and so they eventually settled on Christopher Lee, who had forged an excellent career playing on-screen villains, most notably of course Dracula, and so in many ways he was the perfect choice for a Bond villain. Ultimately the film would underperform, and it would be the next film, The Spy Who Loved Me, that would firmly cement Roger Moore in the public consciousness as James Bond. But today I'm going to take a look at one of the Sideshow Collectibles figures from this film, The Man with the Golden Gun, that is, much maligned and probably unfairly so. And I'm going to look at the Scaramanga. Scaramanga comes in the standard packaging that we've come to know from Sideshow Collectibles, so they've replicated the film poster for the front cover here, whilst the side panel clearly shows a portrait of the action figure. This is one of the things I love about this packaging, is that you can stand all of these figures next to each other in a row and they make it quite a nice display by themselves. Meanwhile, the reverse of the packaging has a little bit of bio about the character, and there's some production shots from the film beneath. Below that we have some more information about the accessories that come with the figure, a little bit about the series, and we can see a portrait of the other figure that accompanies the Scaramanga, which of course is the James Bond, the Roger Moore, as he appears in The Man with the Golden Gun. And then finally, of course, it does have that open window display there, so you pull the cover open, you can see the figure perfectly on display, all his accessories, and then on the side panel we have a bit more information about the film and a cast list as well. So all in all, pretty standard for this range, but really nice touches. It never fails to impress me, and I think it's a really lovely, really deluxe feeling packaging that you get. The figure does of course come with a stand, so I've got him placed on that, and you can immediately see the presentation of this figure is very, very nice. As always, the tailoring is really, really detailed and very nicely put together. Now, Scaramanga's outfit is actually pretty bland, it's pretty straightforward, there's not a lot to it, but Sideshow have made up for that in the texturing and the quality of the material they've put the suit in. It feels very silky and quite luxurious. Now the head sculpt is very nice, and I think the likeness is pretty strong. Now I don't think it's a dead ringer. As you can see, Christopher Lee obviously had a little bit more of a 5 o'clock shadow going on, and they haven't really replicated that. Now certainly around the eyes, I think they've done a really good job. The eyes and the eyebrows definitely look like Christopher Lee. I'm just not sure about the rest. It feels like the features maybe look a little bit soft. They could have done with a bit more detailing. But overall, this is definitely recognisable as Christopher Lee, and I think they've done a pretty solid job. And as I said, the overall presentation is really strong. It's a very nice looking figure. The suit is very well tailored. As I said, it has an excellent texture to it, and it faithfully recreates the look Scaramanga has in the film. Now he does have the standard Sideshow Collectibles body, but for those who've never owned the figure, or just aren't familiar with how Sideshow were making figures back at this time, I'll run through the articulation very quickly. So he has a ball jointed neck. The joint is at the neck, and it's a very effective joint because it allows the head to spin 360 degrees, and of course he's got a fantastic range of motion looking up and down as well, so top marks for that. He does have ball jointed shoulders, so he can lift his arms up and back, which is great, and he has a double jointed elbow, which is fantastic for allowing the arm to bend all the way back and bring the hand up to the mouth or to the head. The hand is on a peg joint, so it can spin 360 degrees, but it also has a hinge joint there as well, which allows it to arch backwards and forwards. Now he does have a ball joint in the chest as well, which allows a greater range of motion, being able to spin the figure from side to side and up and down a little bit as well, so this is very strong. There is a hinge joint at the top of the leg there, so the legs can swing outwards, but they can also kick forwards and back as well. You'll also notice here that he actually has the socks, so if you lift the leg up, you can see the detail on the socks there, which is quite nice. He also has double jointed knees, so that means he can bend the leg right the way back if he wants to, which is great. And the foot is on a hinge joint as well, which means the foot can arch backwards and forwards, but it isn't pivoted, so it cannot tilt from side to side, but it does rotate around. As I said, the costume is very simple, so there's not an awful lot of detail that Sideshow Collectibles were able to work with, but there are little touches here, such as the cufflinks, which are really nice, And most importantly, they've actually added something to the mould so that when you undo his chest, he actually has the famous third nipple. So they've actually bothered to paint that on there, which, you know, is a cool little extra detail that they could have easily overlooked, but I love that they've gone the extra mile and actually bothered to put this in. In terms of accessories, Scaramanga is fairly light. Again, there's not much they could have really given him, but they have tried, and so you get the Solex Agitator, the individual pieces that make up the golden gun, and then finally the fully assembled golden gun. And as we've come to expect from Sideshow Collectibles, the hands are rubberized. The fingers, which are individual, can be manipulated to hold even the smallest of accessories, and they hold them firmly and snugly in their grip. And there's enough accessories here that, combined with a fantastic articulation, allow for many different dynamic, interesting poses that can give this character a lot of different varied looks. Predominantly, I'm going to use the golden gun. It's my favourite accessory, probably from the whole range. I think it's such an iconic piece of hardware, and yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. And I think they've done a really wonderful job. I think the likeness is pretty strong. The costume is really well tailored, and the accessories that we do have are really nicely detailed and nicely put together, so that when you do start putting them in different poses, it looks really striking and very visually interesting. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please do give it a like, and remember to subscribe, as I will be posting more videos soon.